Okay, we're all set. Started recording. So, good evening, everybody. My name is Jaya Balaji. Today we are going to see how we can stabilize our mind in difficult times. So, in order to see this topic, we should understand what stability means. So, if you ask a commoner to define stability, more or less, like we'll get a definition, something like having a stable income, sending off the children to school, going to office on time, working there and returning back from office by evening and relaxing a bit. So you'll get some kind of definition like this. What we miss here is things won't be constant like that. There can be changes, there can be turbulence, there can be difficult times that keeps coming up. So we need to understand this and prepare ourselves for our life's changes. For example, it may not be like always beautiful garden as we expect. There can be a change of scenario at times. So we have to accommodate this kind of differences and changes. And once we accept it, then we'll have a better and a stable mind rather than fixing ourselves and assuming that things will be the same. So when we talk about these kind of changes and stability, there is one area like we always like the stability part. That is the movies. Even we used to watch movies every week. That we used to go for different kind of movies like comedy or horror or thriller. But one area sticks outside. That is the action part. So we always like watching these kind of action movies where there is a hero coming up and smashing all out 10 or 20 peoples at the same time. And the beauty is the hero lies very calm. He stays in a very composed manner and handle situation. So why we like this kind of movies? This movies like for past 60, 70 years, we have been watching these kind of action movies. Why is that we like this movie? The reason is inside us there is a powerful person who likes to become very strong and handle things in a better manner. So we have that person inside us. And whenever we see that replicated in the screen, we like that character and we like that movie. So this admiration is not in the screen, but something within us. So why is that we have this power inside us, but we suppress it? So this superhuman is there always, but why is that we are not able to express in all times? That is because of the social norms. So we have a restriction and a constructed manner in which we behave, and this power doesn't comes out and we don't let it out. We suppress it. But this power comes out in difficult and emergency situation. For example, when we take, there are cases where a mother lifts a car and pulls the child under the car and rescue the child. So this kind of superhuman power had been recorded many times, and we do have that sense inside us. So if we have that power, we'll be definitely like a movie star, handling things in a very composed manner and facing all difficulties and crossing them. Why is that we are not able to use that power? So one reason is the mistake we had gone through is the schooling. The school had taught us many things, like whatever the education and knowledge we gained, we got it through the school. But there is one thing which we have not gained, or like we had failed to overcome, is the learning pattern. See, when we write a exam and we try to solve a problem, let's say it's a max problem and we try to solve it, at some point we may make a mistake and that will cost us dearly. There is a heavy punishment for that. We have been reduced mark for that. But rarely we have been taught like what mistake we had done and how we can rectify that mistake. That what is missing in almost all the subjects, except one subject. One subject alone doesn't do that. That subject is the art subject, which handles in a different way. Whenever we make a mistake while drawing or painting, the teacher comes and corrects that mistakes and takes us towards a beautiful result. This aspect is missing in us because when we see a problem or when we see a difficulty, we get stuck and we are not able to move forward. So this one is missing very much, and we should take the art form, like the way the art is handled, the way we rectify it and we make it beautiful. That is how we have to make it, and that will be possible when we focus on the solution instead of the problem. So instead of seeing the problem, if we look at the ways to solve it and come up with the solution, then we'll be able to rectify mistakes and handle them in a better way. Now, moving on to the areas that give us stress. So, what are all the difficulties we face? One is the separation part. So, when we talk about separation, it could be many things. Like the most strongest event is when a beloved passing away. So that creates a lot of stress in us and it gives sorrow and depression. That is one thing. But it need not be this only that, and that could be other separations like a divorce, or even when children go for foreign place for studies. So these things create separation and anxiety along with that. And obviously the finance part. So everyone, we would have gone through some kind of financial situation where we had faced stress. So we will talk about that in the next slide. Illness, yes, when we face some kind of physical illness or mind level illness, we are blocked and we have stress. And not only us, even the family members are affected by that, and we get lot of tension in that aspect. Most of us, like who had gone through office, we know the politics involved in it, and the way things are handled. They putting a lot of pressure and peers not supporting us. So these kind of pressure is there. It creates a lot of tension. The environment could be very noisy. There could be a lot of traffic jam. The environment may not be conducive. So this creates stress in us. Addiction is one of the cause. People can get addicted. They are not able to come out of it. So this creates the problem for their health and as well as for family members. So these are some of the stress. We'll see the finance aspect, how we can cope up. So one thing we have to remember is we are not alone. The finances, like maybe top 5% or 10% people, they are financially strong and better off. But remaining people, even if they're rich, they have their own financial constraints and they are facing problems. So don't think that you are alone. You have a lot of company with for you, and you can create a support system and work on it. Finance is always a temporary setback. We find a way out of it. We find some means where we can manage things, and we do come out of it. So don't think that it is permanent. So if you think it is permanent, it will create a lot more pressure inside us. The short term income is something like if you are totally broke and you don't know how to overcome, you can think about means of making money out of your skills. Like whatever you are able to do it, you can think of ways in which you can uh, provide that as a service and find people who would like to buy that service. For example, in net there are websites like Rent a Coder or Fiverr. So there are places where the buyers are willing to buy these skills. So this is one aspect, and there are many ways where you can use your skills and get better. It may not be fetching a lot of money, but it will give you some kind of satisfaction in solving the current situation. Other aspect is you can work on building your skills in the internet. Like you find a number of material, and most of them are free of cost. You can use them and see how you can equip yourself, polish yourself, and acquire more skills. So that is one aspect which will be helpful in long term. Networking is definitely a good thing. Like we can find people and mix and match and learn from others, get their guidance, and we can move ahead and solve problems. The long term solution and the long term lesson that we gain out of these difficult situations is valuable. You can always look back at how you had crossed certain difficulties and how you are able to manage. So those lessons will help us in future endeavors. Like wherever, whatever we face in future, it will help us to stabilize our mind and calm down and handle things in a better manner. The support system, we do have our family members, a friend circle, mentors who can guide us. And if all these are not working, we can go for a professional help like counselors and therapists. So these people guide us in a systematic manner. And in one study, if the problem is too much, then only the professionals can help us in solving the problem. This is one interesting story. So here there is a man carrying some goods to the marketplace, and he has to cross a small riverlet, but it is overflooded and he's not able to cross the water body. So he is puzzled and he doesn't know what to do. And in such cases, what he does is he prays for the Almighty and asks the help from the providence and asks the water to be, and his prayer is answered. The water resides and he is able to cross it. So this is one story, and let's move on to the next one where there are group of people and they want to enter into a temple, but there is another group preventing from them, threatening with weapons, and they are saying that they won't allow. The first group is saying that whatever may be the cost, even the head rolls, they are not going to be afraid and they want to pass through. So this is the another scenario. So these two stories, they talk about the stress factor that we happen to go through. So in this case, like in the second story, like there is a rights and they want to claim their rights, so they are willing to fight it out. And in the first case, there is a goods that needs to be delivered. If it is not, it will be perished. So they are trying to overcome this by some means and coming out of this stress situation. The reason I'm asking showing this particular story is that it not only shows the stress point aspect, but it also shows something else. See, these are stories that happened 200, 300 years back. So from then on, generation after generation, these stories had been told, and my father told these stories to me, and I'm telling these stories to my daughter. So why these kind of stories are being transferred from generation after generation? And if you see these people who had lived 200 years back, they would have gone through some happy occasion. They would have attended some village festival, gone to some tour, or they would have been to some marriage function. So they had the happy occasions, but none of those incidents had been passed on to us. We always hear something stressful and how they overcome the stress. So by that means we have been passed on the positive stories and stressful events so that we can handle in our life. So we have been filled with these kind of positivities, and we have the potential to face any of these situations. Some of the more tools are like there are the mindful exercise and the prayers and meditation that are available to calm down our mind and stabilize it. Sleep helps us to calm down our mind, and if you are having continuous disturbance in sleep, it is better to check it and fix the problem. Deep breathing is a quick fix. Immediately it brings our control and grounds us in the present moment. Exercising is a good idea. Journaling helps us to understand and orient what we are doing and what is the path we are taking. And art and hobbies helps us in providing us with clarity in life and expand our self. So these are all some of the venues we can try, whichever interest you can try them. The final aspect is the resilience part. Resilience is the ability to jump back whenever there is a difficult situation. So in that case, if we have the right mindset, we will be able to bring a good clarity to the moment and be able to handle the situation in a better manner. With that, I conclude my session.